Hello, this is Optimus Frank, and welcome back to the channel. We will be reviewing War for Cybertron Trilogy Siege Deluxe Mirage. However, before I was ready to film this, I found a Netflix Mirage and said, okay, let's make them a part of this review. I normally do not care for certain remolds or repaints unless they have personality or of certain canon value, like the Seekers or the Datsuns. So what makes this repaint special, and more special than any of the repaints so far, is that it's about Mirage, Autobot spy with questionable allegiances. And in the Netflix version, he's not just an invisible Autobot spy snooping around. He's apparently in deep undercover wearing the Decepticon symbol. So now I have Autobot Mirage and Decepticon Mirage, and I haven't opened this box yet. I was saving this all for you, especially for those of you like me who are perhaps curious or are thinking about investing in the new Netflix Siege toy line. So before I open this box, I wonder if really there is any difference between, besides the paint jobs and the box. I'm not sure what I'm in store for. This will tell me whether or not I'll be buying more of the Netflix Siege toy line. So here he is outside of the box. And what did I get for buying another Mirage? I got a new box with an angry Mirage face, which is pretty cool. You know, I love the red eyes. I wish the red eyes were here, or at least, you know, if they threw in some kind of Decepticon light tubing. But aside from that, it looks like a cardboard piece of Teletran 1, I think. Which is just cardboard. I'm gonna lose this or trash it or something. The instructions come in Decepticon colors. Okay. He does not come with lightning, force lightning or something. I just added that there from the Ultraman figure I got from the previous video. So let's look at his color. So the paint job is the best part. He goes from a red and white Autobot with red lining into no red lining and purple and looks like a teal, if I know my color. So it's a blue, teal, light teal. Also, well, the wheels stay the same pretty much. He has some purple, gray. He has some black spots, which is supposed to be, I guess, battle damage. He has some here on the bicep armor. He also has another spot right here. I wonder what he's been through. On his lower part of his shin. Looking at him side by side, physically they're both the same. This one has blue eyes, heroic blue eyes, and this one has yellow eyes. And really, what these colors do for me, it kind of takes away all of his heroic value, you know, because, you know, I grew up with these things and watching the TV show. So, I mean, without his heroic value, he looks pretty much like one of the Decepticon goons, really. Turning him around, they look virtually the same, aside from colors. And I mean, it's still a good figure. But will I invest in more of the Netflix line? Like I said, if it has some value, canon value, or if it stands out. I mean, this one's a Decepticon spy, and it's nice to have a spy, you know, another version of the same character. But what I find interesting about this one is that, you know, in previous episodes, like I mentioned earlier, he was just an invisible Autobot snooping around, and here we have an undercover Decepticon or an Autobot, and, you know, posing as a Decepticon soldier. So one thing I'm going to be looking forward to in the Netflix special is just to see how dangerous that is. You know, it might be like The Departed or some kind of monster movie. Mobster movie where he's undercover and you know, who knows? Megatron could be like Whitey Bulger, you know? His most interesting story angle, though, in the comic and other continuities, and what I think this figure captures the most, is that in the comic, Mirage is somewhat of a Cybertronian aristocrat that has many friends on both sides of the war, Autobot and Decepticon. And to me, he looks like he's Cybertron royalty, or he's just rich. Notice that he has really no battle damage in this version, like Sideswipe or Six Gun in the Siege line. He's also well-groomed. He has blue eyes, a broad frame. He's a fast car mode. Like, what a handsome Autobot, very elegant. His body is white with a blue sternum with bright red lining. He has a big Autobot symbol below where the 26 used to be. He has a dark blue helmet with a silver face and blue eyes, black on the shoulders and fists. His legs are transparent blue with Cybertronian writing, and that's what this figure's missing. Any of the Cybertronian writing or font. And what also looks good, aside from his inner forearms, is that Mirage has no hollow points at all, which is great. In his robot mode, he has your standard ports and then some. One on each foot, one on each shoulder. Let me show you real fast. Well, he has one on each shoulder, his bicep on each foot here in the bottom. He has two on the sides here, on the side of his legs, outside of his kneecaps. He has one in the back. And he has two hidden ones right under his forearms right there. It took me a minute to find. I really didn't notice them there until like a while later. But there are plenty of places to mount his weapons. I prefer to put the rocket at the end of the shoulder, like right here, the tip of this rocket, because it came together in the box, and his cannon here on the side. In this version, actually the cannon's black, and I prefer it black. It goes with the rest of his body, but he's kind of like a boring gray here, along with the rest of his this drab gray around the rest of his body. But what I do like about this cannon, let me look at the black version because I like it better actually. I mean, what I like to do with this one, it's because in the G1 he always had this rocket on his shoulder. I figured, because this is such an awesome looking cannon, instead of just putting it on the shoulders, I'd rather just put it here, and then at the same time he has a shoulder rocket. But what I also like about this is actually pretty stylish. You know, like I said, he is rich, and I think this cannon, the way it's etched, it looks pretty stylish. And it's not as big as Megatron's, but I like it here so that he has something like an arm cannon that looks close to Megatron's arm cannon. So to transform him, first you take off his weapons, then you're going to want to fold his fists in, and then you fix his forearms and everything like he's a boxer blocking his head. And then once that's snapped in, you want to take his wheels out, separate his torso and put the head in, and then you're going to take his toes, point him forward, and then you're going to separate his shins from his toes, and you're going to snap them into each other. So the bottom of his shin is going to snap into the top of his shin. So I guess it has two shins, one shin under the other. So once you get his shins in order, you're going to want to bring out the wheels, and then you're going to want to snap them together, and that's going to form the front of the vehicle. So once that's established, once it's snapped in and tight, you're going to want to take those two pegs right there that I'm pointing to, and you're going to want to snap them in to the back or the front of the other side. And when it's all tight, you're good to go. So in their alternate modes, they look great, and they have their differences. Traditional Mirage has a nice little transparent blue. He has wheels. They both have the wheels with some nice etching. They're very big wheels. They help him roll faster. And I also like that in the Decepticon Mirage, you actually see where the window is in the black here. Which is nice. I also think that the blanking ink in this alternate mode is more pronounced than in his robot mode. It looks like he got those marks while he was racing or driving really, really fast amongst the war, which is a nice look for a Decepticon Mirage. Definitely not a pretty boy Autobot. But at first I was disappointed when I just had this Mirage. And even in both figures, I was disappointed with the lack of usable ports. I mean, the directions too, it only shows that he has two ports here. But this is where I think the Siege line is genius. For example, a vehicle here like Siege Hound is a military vehicle, and it's appropriate to have all these ports so that he can be fully armed. And here I have Siege Hound with parts of Cog, fully armored, or as armored as I could. I don't have all of Cog there, but he's armored up. So why does Mirage only have 2 ports when Hound has like 10? You know, And in my view, it's because Mirage is an Earth-like vehicle. You know, he wasn't given Cybertronian alternate modes like Bumblebee or Wheeljack. And it's difficult to give him one because, you know, being a race car is Mirage's thing. So I've discovered that if you undo the back of the vehicle a little bit, you can go from 2 ports to 6 ports. Now, he has more ports, and if you arm him up, he'll look more Cybertronian. And he'll have space for other weapons. I mean, how else can you use a weaponizer on him in his alternate mode with only 2 ports? You know, but this is Mirage all hooked up, and I think, like I said earlier a second ago, he looks more Cybertronian this way. He looks more like an Autobot that can battle, as opposed to being an Earth-like race car who can mainly go fast with only 2 ports, you know. And some of you may doubt me, you know, you may think I'm pulling it out the wazoo, but Mirage isn't the only Autobot that can do that. Ironhide here, if you undo the back here, you have 2 extra ports to plug things in, so he went from 4 ports to 2 extra ones, and he also has 4 more in the front, so it kind of reminds me of those 80s toys, Mask. I don't know if you're old enough to remember, any of you. But those of you in the 80s are, I'm sure, where the car would do this silly transformation, the vehicle would do the silly transformation, and it would turn into something else. Like I remember a Corvette could fly by just opening the doors. But this reminds you of that because, you know, you open up the panel to surprise, you have weapons. So let me add stuff to him. Here's Ironhide with just hooked up with every weapon I could find off of 6 gun. But yeah, also I forgot to mention he does have ports in the bottom of his feet. So yeah, this is one thing you could do with those hidden ports on Ironhide as well as Mirage. But I'm very happy with what they've done with Mirage in Siege, and if you can pick one up, I recommend it. As for the Netflix Mirage, I wonder how deep he'll infiltrate within the Decepticon ranks. Will he be like really deep, like Leonardo DiCaprio in The Departed, like Donnie Brasco in Donnie Brasco? Will Megatron be like Whitey Bulger? It would be awesome if the whole Netflix turns out to be like a Martin Scorsese mobster flick. And even Cliffjumper can be Joe Pesci over here. I know I have my thoughts. How do you all feel about the remolds and repaints or repaints in general? Please let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you know of any other ways to configure Mirage or see anything different than how I do, please comment below. If you liked what you saw, add a like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more future content from my channel. I'd really appreciate it a lot. It would help this channel grow. This is Optimus Frank. Until all are one.